Step one in alienation was to take the infant's son without my knowledge and to refuse to return them. This tactic was used in order to maintain physical custody, so he felt like that he could uh, have the child think that his wife and him were the parents and not me. That happened a lot, where they insisted that my son call his wife, who was not the bio mom, and call me by my first name. That was insistent. That was a lot of the tactics that went on throughout my son's development. Second was to use the justice system, the police system, and social services as a weapon against me, to try to ruin my ability to be a mother, my ability to financially support my family, and my ability to have my dignity and respect and innocence of a law-abiding citizen. Those were the first uh, keystones of trying to alienate me from my children. The second phase was involving other people, is what they call flying monkeys. They involved friends that I had. They would tell them stories and totally get them brainwashed into thinking that I was a bad person, and use them to do their bidding, like harass, stalk, um, post negative things on social media, bully, attack, things like that. And when I did have a job, they would send false accusations to my job in order to try to get me fired. And then there was a couple times where they actually contacted my landlord and tried to get me evicted. So it was, and then constantly calling CPS. I literally have uh, three full extra large Tupperware, the biggest kind you would get, full of CPS documents, um, where they were saying weird things that weren't happening. And yes, I want to make sure you know this, that the police officers got sick of the false accusations and did put making false police reports criminal charges against them, um, both for doing that. I know that's very important to let you know, but the justice system allowed that to go on way too long, uh, and a lot of damage was done in the interim. The third phase was to use the children to say bad things against me. I was the alienated parent, insisting that I was the bad person, that I was keeping them away from their father, even though the father just wouldn't show up for visitation or didn't want to make phone calls, didn't want to come to birthday parties, even though I did invite them, and try to co-parent as well as I could. Uh, but in order to get out of that responsibility, they would say that I was refusing to let them see the children. So bad mouthing was a really, really hardcore thing, and their families. Their families would follow suit. So not only would they say it, but their families would say it also. Um, so that was hard on the children. That was really, really hard because they love their parents despite of any flaws. And to hear that one parent is so bad, it detrimentally hurts the child to their soul. And you can just tell the way that I see mine, they're still tortured by it to this very day. And so am I. I mean, I'm still not over it. I've done a lot of work on myself, and I've really um, still in therapy 9 years later. So it's not over. I don't have triggers as much as I used to. But when I was going through it, I had triggers all day, every day, and flashbacks and nightmares and daymares, disassociation, and it really played a toll on me. I couldn't. Sometimes I couldn't even function because of the torture and the grief and the constant chaos. There was not a break. It went on for It went on really bad for about 5 or 6 years, and it's still to this day going on, but it's more controlled and more people have an eye on it. And it is almost over. Almost over. My last court date will be on August 23rd and 24th. I gave you the children's perspective of what went on with them. Also, one has an eating disorder. Actually, they both do. One won't eat enough, and the other one will eat too much and then throw up. And they have problems socializing. One's very introverted and can't take control of his life, and the other one is still suffering from falsely accusing people all the time, but that's what she grew up with. She grew up thinking that that was a good thing. So we're still working on those things. And the youngest one is still really tortured between his dad bad mouthing me, which he still does, and he does spend time with me, and he's more aware because he's 13 of what's what, and he does start to call his dad out on things and put him into back into reality. He gives them reality checks, like, stop saying this about my mom. I know it's not true. You're just jealous and stuff like that. So he does stick up more for himself, but he still has to hear it. And I know it plays a really huge toll on him because he's taken the stance of whatever his dad says, he doesn't tell anyone at all. And whatever I say, he doesn't tell anyone at all. He won't tell a soul because he's learned saying anything causes a lot of trouble for mom, and he just doesn't want to hurt his mother. He's very careful at that. He doesn't want to hurt his mother, and he doesn't want to hear it from his dad anymore. So he has taken the stance of just being quiet. And I admire him for that because when we're together, we just have fun together. We don't talk about anything else except for him, how he's doing, and me, how I'm doing, and we enjoy each other's company. But that's still affecting him, but the other two got away. What I mean by the other two, my two oldest from my ex husband, they actually were removed from his care completely. He physically and sexually abused both of them. And the sad thing is he actually accused me of that, but yet he was found guilty of it. And they now have no relationship with him. They have very concrete, like, what's right, what's wrong. But it's still hard to know that that's your parent that does those things to you. That's your parent that did that to your mom. And I tell them at the end of the day, it happened. It's in the past. Let's worry about our future because our future can be happy. Our future can be successful. We have each other and we're a team. We need to work together. And we do. Um, we have a very good relationship. We still have a lot to work on, but we're very close. Like, we will stick up for each other in a second. We will um, not let anyone interfere with our family, not even a little bit. And we defend each other, and we look out for each other on a constant basis. It's wonderful, but if I could avoid anything to make them not go through this, I wish I could, but I can't wish away what happened, but I definitely want to make a change so no one else has to go through this. I know there's others out there like me. I know there's others that are in my position right now that I was in 2009 through 2012. And just because I'm stronger now, I wasn't strong back then. This has been a journey to rebuild a devastated island, the island being my family. Um, it was like being lost at sea. That's the best analogy I can take, not knowing whether someone's coming to rescue you or not, but you have a lifeboat. That's all you got. So, some of the things that affected me during this alienation was um, going through so much interfered with my ability to be the mother I wanted to be for my children. And they remember that. They remember the tears, the depression, the being so scared, throwing up all the time, and not being able to eat, and not being able to, and being sick all the time. They remember that, that toll it took on me, and they needed their mom. They needed their mom the most, and it like robbed me of those precious times, and robbed them of having that solid, happy-go-lucky, normal mother, because of the experience of being alienated, and the trauma of all those tactics that they use. Um, it really destroyed my family. It tore them apart. We're slowly getting back together. But if that hadn't happened, I guarantee you my children would have been in a better place today. So, ending my story, parental alienation can be avoided. It can, because I've seen it be avoided before. I think the very first instant should be the minute anyone separates, when a consultation of parent alienation should take place. Um, it should be an exercised organization that automatically happens upon separation, just like any sort of custody visitation thing. It should be the first and foremost thing. I think that should be more important than GALs. I really do. And classes should be taken, and contracts should be signed by both parents that this is not going to happen, and if any of these tendencies happen, that person would risk losing any custodial rights to the child, because it's so detrimental, it's so damaging, that it's child abuse. It's literally child abuse, and it needs to be seen that way. Just like anybody who would beat a child or not feed a child or hurt a child is exact same abuse. They go through the same damage. You just can't see the bruises. You just can't see the scars. You can't see them bleeding, but they do still have them. Change can happen the minute upon separation. The availability of programs should be there. It would help all families and would raise a better future. It would raise better children that are going to be our children, that are going to be our future. I know it. I've lived it. Thank you.